Welcome back. This is Mr. Fisher, Flip's third grade math, and we are using math expressions. Today our math objective is looking at problems, comparison problems with misleading language. And the easiest way to explain that is the math book is trying to trick you. And we're going to look at how the math book or the math problems can be tricky, but if you look closely, you'll be able to get the problems every time. So let's get started today. Do an anytime problem. On Saturday, Peyton's family arrived at a street fair at 1:15 in the afternoon. They left the fair at 5:35 the same afternoon. How much time did they spend at the fair? First of all, I need to look at the minutes. They left at 35 minutes after the hour, but they got there at 15 minutes after the hour. I'm isolating the minutes first. I'm also going to put in the hours, 5 and 1 o'clock. Now, what am I going to be using? Adding, subtracting, multiplying? I'm going to be using subtraction. So I took when they left minus the time when they arrived. 5 minus 5 is 0. 3 minus 1 is 2. About 20 minutes after. Now we need to find out how many hours. 5 minus 1 is 4. So approximately, how much time did they spend at the fair? 4 hours and 20 minutes. Yep, 4 hours and 20 minutes. Let's move on to our lesson today, math expressions. We're going to be exploring, modeling, applying, and problem solving, of course. This first question is actually a puzzled penguin equation. So we're going to look at puzzled penguins problem, and I've got a graphic of it right here. We have Daniel and Carlos. Well, let me read the question for you, because puzzled penguin, he sometimes gets his answers a little mixed up. Let's see what he did. Carlos has 19 fish. Do you see where Carlos has 19 fish? He has 14 fewer fish than Daniel. How many fish does Daniel have? This is what he did. If you look right down here, he took 19 minus 14 equals 5. Does he get it correct? Of course he gets it correct. Or does he? Check again. Carlos started out with 19, but he had 14 fewer than Daniel. How many does he have? Did Puzzled Penguin make an error? Yes, he did. What error was made? Puzzled Penguin subtracted instead of adding. Why do you think this happened? Puzzled Penguin probably saw that the word fewer in the problem and thought it meant to subtract. But in this case, it was Daniel had 14 plus 19. Let's go ahead and change this. Change that to, it's going to be plus. So let's add 14. Let's change your answer. What should be our answer? 19 plus 14 is 25. Let's check. Try again. What did I do wrong? 9 plus 4 is... If we check our answer, 9 plus 4 does not equal 15. It equals 13. So that has to be a 3. And then what? We have to add an extra 10. So 110 plus 110 plus another 10 should equal 3 tens, right? Let's check our answer. 33. Daniel has 33 fish. Puzzled Penguin needed to make sure that he added. Let's try another problem. And I've got two problems here. Let's start with the first one. The coach brought 18 hockey sticks to practice, but there were 23 players at practice. How many players didn't get sticks? So we should go 18 plus 23, right? 18 minus 23? You're right. Let's take the big number and subtract 18 from it. 23 minus 18. Find out the answer? I have to do it this way. 23 minus 18. I can't take 8 away from 3, so what am I going to do? I'm going to borrow 110, and 13 minus 8 is 5. How many players didn't get sticks? 5 players. Let's try another problem. At a meeting, 15 people had to stand because there were not enough chairs. There were 12 chairs. How many people came to the meeting? This one's a little bit harder, right? No? You're going to subtract them? 15 minus 12? Let's try it. 15 minus 12 equals, there were 3 people at the meeting? That's not right. What do I need to do? Which operation do I need to use instead of subtract? Let's use adding. 5 plus 2 equals 7. Do I have to borrow or carry? No. 110 plus another 10 equals 27. So how many people were at the meeting? 27 people. 27 people were at the meeting. We're getting fairly good at this. Let's check. Let's do a apply. There is a stop sign here, so make sure you stop and see if you can do that before you move on. At the park, 4 of the children could not swing because there were not enough swings. There were 20 children at the park. How many swings were on the swing set? Well, let's take 20. Add or subtract? Let's add. 20 plus 4 equals 24 swing sets? Wait a second. There were not enough swings. So we can't have 24. What if we subtracted 20 minus 4? And we can get rid of that. What's 20 minus 4? 16. Let's check our answer to see if we've got it right. Yes, there were only 16 swings. 4 children couldn't swing. They had to wait their turn. It's always good to wait your turn. Go on to the next problem. Make sure you pause. Maylee took one step on each tile along the garden path. After she took 14 steps, there were 13 more tiles left to go. How many tiles were there along the path? Look at the problem. She took 14 steps. She had 13 more left to go. Is this a takeaway problem or an add 2 problem? It's an add 2 because she has 14 steps plus 13. And what's our answer? 4 plus 3 is 7. 110 plus another 10 is 27. How many tiles are there? 27 tiles. Check our answer. 27 tiles. Now, if you look at the word comparison, that is what we're doing. And sometimes when we see a comparison problem, which statement is the comparison statement? Carlos had 14 fewer fish than Daniel. So you see that fewer, it becomes distracting to us because we think subtraction. But it shows that comparisons can sometimes mean instead of the difference, we want to compare. Who has fewer fish? Carlos does. He has fewer than Daniel. I'm going to make sure this is posted again so you guys can go to Math Expressions. You can try out any of the grades. I like to go to grade 3 and check out the glossary or the games or the manipulatives. If you check out the manipulatives, there's some ways to add and subtract and do the multiplication table, but of course there's always some games that you can play. The ones that I like are RoboPacker, which is a fun game. Homework tonight will be 2 pages. If you notice, there's 7 problems on the 1 page and 5 remembering type problems. And if you notice, these are just word problems, but we have to make sure that we are adding or subtracting correctly. If Lucia drew 13 pictures and then she drew 6 more than Chelsea, how many did Chelsea draw? So are we adding or subtracting? So you have to make sure that Lucia, even though she drew 13 pictures, she drew 6 more than Chelsea. So it's 13 minus 6. And there's our remembering problem. We're going to be completing the table, start time, elapsed time, etc. Another table to see how many nonfiction, fiction, and magazines there are. That brings us to our WSQ. When and where did you watch the video? Hopefully you watched it on Wednesday night so you could have a free day on Thursday. Summary, sum up what you saw. You learn about comparison problems. Are you sure you know how to do them? Question, if you don't have a question, see if you can create a word problem to go along with the video. That brings us to the end of today's lesson. Thank you for participating. Make sure you do your homework. Good night.